So today we're zoning in on a supplement that's, well, it's really earned its place, hasn't it? Especially for, many of you listening who might be over 50, maybe 60. Magnesium glycinate. And you probably know why you take it. It's great because it's gentle, right? Good for muscle, sleep, heart, all that good stuff. Because it's that chelated form, highly absorbable, or it's always.
Right, and that's exactly where we need to start today. Glycinate is good. It's designed to be bioavailable, definitely superior to some other forms out there. But here's the surprising part, the thing we really dug into in the source material. A lot of people, maybe even you, faithfully taking this stuff, well, you might still be feeling symptoms of deficiency. And it often boils down to your daily rhythm, that morning coffee, maybe other supplements you take, even certain medications. They can silently block the absorption, or they just make your body deplete magnesium faster.
Wow. So it's like metabolic sabotage.
Yeah.
You're doing the right thing. You're probably paying a bit more for the good stuff, the glycinate, but you might only be getting, what, a fraction of the actual benefit.
Precisely. So our mission today is to kind of synthesize the science, look at what the research says, and give you the actionable plan. We're calling it the magnesium rhythm.
Oh.
We want to go beyond just take magnesium and pinpoint the exact timing, the best food pairings, maybe some lifestyle tweaks, all aimed at helping you truly maximize that dose for, long-term health and vitality.
Okay, I love that. Magnesium rhythm. So before we get into the when and what with, you mentioned there's a basic challenge just because of aging. Let's unpack that. We know glycinate is chelated, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bound to that amino acid to help it cross the gut wall easier. So why, even with this fancy form, does absorption become such a hurdle after 50 or 60?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? If it's already highly absorbable, why the struggle? Well, even chelated magnesium needs some initial prep work in the body. And there are, let's say, 3 subtle but pretty significant physiological shifts that happen as we get older. First, and this is super common but often missed, stomach acid levels. They naturally tend to decrease after 60. The technical term is hypochlorhydria, and you absolutely need sufficient stomach acid to start dissolving the mineral to kind of unlock it from the supplement structure so the body can grab onto it later.
Ah, okay. So less acid means that first crucial step, the unlocking, just doesn't happen as well, even with the chelated form.
Exactly. It slows the whole process down right at the start. The key doesn't turn as easily, you could say. Second, you've got changes happening in the gut itself. The lining of the intestines where nutrients actually get absorbed into your bloodstream, it just becomes a bit less efficient over time. The balance of gut bacteria can shift too, and maybe the little receptors that pull magnesium across aren't quite as active.
Okay, so less unlocking power up front and then a less efficient system for pulling it in. What's the third thing?
The third piece is the kidneys. As we age, our kidneys naturally become a little less effective at holding on to magnesium. So they might start letting more magnesium slip out through urine, even if you're drinking enough water. They're not conserving it as well as they used to.
Wow, okay. That really is a triple challenge then. Harder to unlock it, harder to absorb it, and easier to lose it. And the irony, of course, is that magnesium is just such a powerhouse, involved in, what, over 300 critical reactions? Energy production, heart rhythm, blood sugar. We need it more than ever as we age, but our bodies seem to make it harder to keep hold of.
That's the paradox, which leads us right into the next part, because this is where it gets really interesting. We move from just the body's changes to our daily habits. We need to talk about the silent blockers. The things many of us do or consume every single day that actively sabotage whatever magnesium you do manage to absorb.
Okay, hit me with it. What the big offenders?
The first major obstacle is basically crowding. Think of it like trying to get on a packed subway train during rush hour.
Right, the crowded platform of the small intestine. I like that analogy.
Exactly. See, magnesium, calcium, zinc, and iron. They all use similar transport systems, like doors onto that train, to get from your gut into your bloodstream. So if you take them all at the same time, maybe in a big multivitamin that's got high doses of calcium, iron, and zinc, along with some magnesium, well, magnesium often gets elbowed out. It loses the fight for a spot on the transporter.
Okay, that makes sense. But hang on, lots of people take calcium maybe in the morning for bones, right?
Yeah.
And then they might take their magnesium at night for sleep. They probably think they're fine because it's hours apart. But what's the actual window? How far apart do they really need to be? Is 4 or 5 hours enough?
That's a crucial detail. The guidance from the sources we looked at is pretty clear. For maximum, high confidence absorption, you want a minimum gap of 4 hours. 4 hours between taking magnesium and taking high doses of calcium, iron, or zinc.
4 hours, minimum.
Minimum, yeah. The transport systems need time to clear out, basically. So if you take calcium with breakfast, you really want to hold off on that magnesium until, say, mid-afternoon or ideally evening. You're trying to give magnesium its own clear run.
4 hours. Got it. That's a really practical rule. Okay, tattoo that one on your arm. Now, you mentioned a hidden combo, something that creates a really nasty depletion loop, and it's tied to how many of us start our day.
Ah, yes. The dynamic duo of depletion, caffeine and sugar. Together, they are just brutal for magnesium levels. First, caffeine. Even just the amount in regular coffee or tea acts as a mild diuretic. It tells your kidneys to flush out more water. And when the water goes, electrolytes often go with it, including magnesium. This effect alone can boost your magnesium loss through urine by maybe up to 20%.
20%. So my morning coffee, if I took my magnesium glycinate last night hoping for good sleep and muscle relaxation, my coffee is actively washing some of that benefit away.
It really is. You're essentially increasing the outflow. Now, layer sugar on top of that. Think sweetened coffee or tea, maybe juice, a pastry, even some processed breakfast cereals or bars. Anything that spikes your blood sugar. Your body needs magnesium. It's a critical cofactor for dozens of metabolic reactions to handle that sugar load and bring your blood glucose back down. So high sugar intake basically just ramps up your body's demand for magnesium.
Oh, wow. Okay, I see it now. That is a perfect storm.
Mm-hmm.
Caffeine makes you lose it faster through the kidneys, and sugar makes your body burn through its existing stores faster to process the glucose. You're losing it and using it up at the same time. It's like, flushing your supplement money down the toilet.
That's a pretty accurate way to put it, unfortunately. This depletion loop means you could be taking the absolute best form of magnesium, but your morning routine is quietly ensuring you stay in a state of deficiency or at least suboptimal levels. And let's not forget a couple of others briefly. Alcohol. Even moderate drinking increases magnesium excretion and messes with how cells hold on to it. And high sodium intake, usually from processed foods, that forces the kidneys to flush out magnesium along with the extra salt they're trying to get rid of.
Okay, this is huge. It really underscores why timing is so critical. If we're navigating around these competitors and these depleters, when is the best time to take magnesium glycinate?
Exactly. Timing shifts from just being about convenience to being absolutely fundamental for effectiveness, especially with those age-related digestive slowdowns we talked about. The consensus points to a kind of sweet spot, taking it 1 to 2 hours after a light to moderate meal.
1 to 2 hours after. Why that specific window? Why not right with a meal or maybe on a completely empty stomach first thing?
Good question. Taking it 1 to 2 hours after eating lets you leverage the digestive enzymes and the stomach acid that are already active from the meal, but without overwhelming the system. Remember, we need that acid. Having some food there also acts as a bit of a buffer, which can maximize the acid's effect on the supplement and potentially reduce any mild stomach upset.
Okay, and what about the extremes? Right after a big meal or totally empty stomach?
Right after a large, heavy meal, especially one high in fat or fiber, digestion slows way down. That can actually hinder the magnesium uptake just because everything is moving so slowly, and taking it on a completely empty stomach. While some people do it, it does increase the risk of mild nausea or stomach cramps for quite a few individuals. That 1-2 hour after a light meal window seems to be the best balance.
Got it. Now, we have to address something really crucial for many of our listeners: medications. Prescription drugs. Are there common ones that directly interfere?
Oh, absolutely. This is vital, and it's something you must discuss with your doctor if you're on these long term. 2 major categories stand out. First, acid reducers, especially the class known as proton pump inhibitors, or PPIs. Think drugs like omeprazole, lansoprazole. Their entire job is to dramatically lower stomach acid. And as we've established, you need that acid to properly dissolve and start absorbing magnesium. Long-term PPI use is a known risk factor for magnesium deficiency.
Okay, that's a direct hit on that first step. What's the second category?
Diuretics, often called water pills, commonly prescribed for high blood pressure or fluid retention. These medications work by increasing fluid loss through the kidneys, and again, magnesium often gets flushed out along with the water and sodium.
So if someone is on a PPI or a diuretic long-term, what's the strategy? Besides talking to their doctor about monitoring levels, of course.
Timing becomes even more critical. The general approach, again, if your doctor agrees it's appropriate for your specific situation, is separation. You might take the PPI or diuretic in the morning, as often prescribed, and then reserve your magnesium glycinate dose for the evening, maybe before bed. That creates a good 6, 8, maybe even 10-hour window between them.
That makes sense. Create as much distance as possible. Now, Thinking about all these challenges, the competition, the slower gut, the lower acid, it feels like trying to take your entire day's magnesium in one single big pill might not be the best approach either.
You absolutely nailed it. That's another key point about optimizing absorption. Your body has a limit to how much elemental magnesium it can actually absorb and utilize effectively at any one time. If you try to force, say, a huge 400 to 500 milligram dose all at once, you might just saturate the transport system. A lot of it could just pass through, unabsorbed, maybe causing digestive upset. So splitting the dose is often much more effective.
Ah, okay, so instead of one big 400 milligram pill.
Right, maybe take 200 milligrams midday, perhaps 1 to 2 hours after lunch following our timing rule, and then another 200 milligrams in the evening, maybe an hour before bed. This gives you steadier levels and potentially better overall absorption and cellular uptake throughout the day. It supports that rhythm.
That's a great practical tip. Okay, let's shift gears slightly and talk about the magnesium-friendly plate, because it's not just about timing the supplement right. What we eat can either help or hinder too, even healthy foods.
Exactly. We need to be aware of potential food blockers. The main ones are compounds called phytates, or phytic acid. You find these naturally in lots of healthy foods. Whole grains like oats and bran, beans, lentils, nuts, and seeds. The issue is phytates bind quite tightly to minerals, including magnesium, in the gut. This can make the magnesium less available for absorption, especially if your digestion is already a bit sluggish.
So wait, my healthy breakfast of oatmeal with almonds and chia seeds? While it's packed with nutrients, it might actually be working against my magnesium levels because of the phytates.
It can have that effect, yes, but there's a relatively simple fix: preparation. Traditional methods like soaking beans or lentils overnight before cooking, lightly roasting nuts and seeds instead of eating them raw, or fermenting grains, think sourdough bread, these processes significantly break down phytates. So you don't need to avoid these healthy foods, just prepare them in ways that unlock their minerals better.
Okay, that's good to know. Smart preparation. Now, what about the allies? The foods or nutrients that actually help magnesium absorption or function? The synergy partners.
Great question. First up is prebiotic fiber. These are types of fiber found in foods like garlic, onions, leeks, asparagus, bananas, chicory root. Prebiotics act as food for your beneficial gut bacteria. When those good bugs ferment prebiotic fiber, they produce something called short-chain fatty acids. And these fatty acids actually help improve mineral absorption across the gut lining. So a healthy, well-fed microbiome makes your gut better at pulling in magnesium.
Interesting. So feeding your gut bugs helps you absorb minerals.
Yep.
What else?
Next are two key vitamin partners. First, vitamin B6. You find it in things like salmon, chicken, chickpeas, potatoes, bananas. B6 is crucial because it helps transport magnesium out of the bloodstream and into your cells, where it actually does all its important work. Magnesium needs B6 as like an escort to get inside the cells.
Okay, B6 helps to get to its final destination. And the other vitamin partner, I'm guessing vitamin D.
You got it. Vitamin D and magnesium are like the ultimate dance partners. They absolutely need each other. Vitamin D helps your intestines absorb magnesium more effectively. But here's the kicker. Magnesium is required to activate vitamin D in your body, converting it into the form your cells can actually use.
Wow, okay. So if you're low in magnesium, even taking high doses of vitamin D might not work properly because you can't activate it.
That's the connection, yes.
Oh.
So a smart strategy is often to take your vitamin D, which is fat-soluble, in the morning with a meal that contains some healthy fats, and then take your magnesium separately later in the day or evening, following our timing rules. Give them both space to do their jobs.
That makes perfect sense. Separate the dance partners so they don't step on each other's toes. Okay, lastly, let's touch on two really fundamental things that often get overlooked: hydration and stress.
Absolutely critical and often underestimated. Hydration seems basic, but magnesium needs water to dissolve properly in the gut before it can even start thinking about crossing the intestinal wall. Mild dehydration is incredibly common, especially in older adults, sometimes because the thirst signal isn't as strong. A simple but powerful habit is to always drink a full glass of plain water before you take your magnesium supplement. Just prime the system. Not juice, not coffee, plain water.
Prime the pump with water
That is.
and stress. How does our hectic modern life impact this essential mineral?
Stress is like a magnesium vacuum cleaner. It just sucks it right up. When you're stressed, your body produces cortisol, the main stress hormone. Magnesium is heavily involved in both producing and regulating cortisol. It's also used up trying to calm down the nervous system's stress signals. So chronic stress means you're constantly burning through your magnesium stores at a much faster rate.
Wow. So managing stress isn't just good for your mind, it directly helps preserve your magnesium levels.
Exactly. Even simple, consistent practices, taking a 10-minute walk, some deep breathing exercises, gentle stretching, maybe a short meditation, anything that lowers cortisol helps your body hold on to its magnesium better. Less stress equals less magnesium burnout.
Okay, this really brings everything together.
Yeah.
So let's talk about recognizing the signs. If someone is taking magnesium glycinate, maybe even a decent dose, but these blockers or issues are interfering, what are the subtle signals their body might be sending that absorption isn't happening properly?
Yeah, these signs are often brushed off as just normal aging, but they can definitely indicate poor magnesium status or absorption. Look for things like muscle tightness, cramps, or involuntary twitching, often in the calves, maybe eyelids, sometimes fingers, that's a classic one. Restless legs at night, or just generally restless sleep, waking up frequently. Magnesium is key for nervous system relaxation, so sleep disturbance is a big clue.
What about energy levels or mood?
Definitely. Persistent fatigue, the kind that doesn't really improve even with rest, can signal that your ATP energy production, which heavily relies on magnesium, is sluggish. Also, notice any changes in heart rhythm, occasional palpitations, feeling like your heart skipped a beat. The heart muscle needs steady magnesium for smooth electrical function. And psychologically, watch out for increased sensitivity to stress. Feeling easily overwhelmed, more anxious than usual, maybe quicker to irritability, these can be huge red flags. When your cellular magnesium is low, your overall resilience just tanks.
Those are really important signals to pay attention to. Okay, so we've covered the challenges, the blockers, the timing, the allies. Let's synthesize this into that actionable blueprint, the magnesium rhythm. Walk us through what an ideal day might look like.
Okay, the daily flow. It's all about separation and priming. Let's start with the morning. First thing, hydrate. Plain water. Maybe add a tiny pinch of sea salt if you like for electrolytes, but plain water is key. This is the time for your competing supplements, your calcium, your iron, your zinc. Take your vitamin D now, ideally with some fat. Have your coffee or tea now too. But crucially, no magnesium in the morning. Keep it clear.
Okay, morning is for the competitors and the caffeine. When does M get its turn?
Midday could be the time for your first dose, especially if you're splitting it. Aim for 1 to 2 hours after a relatively light lunch. This leverages those active digestive enzymes, and maybe focus on including some magnesium allies in that lunch, some leafy greens, maybe some avocado or nuts prepared properly.
Makes sense. And then the evening dose, which
Well,
often feels like the most important one for sleep and relaxation.
exactly. The evening dose is often ideal. Take your magnesium glycinate about 1 hour before you plan to go to bed. And critically, make sure this is at least 2 hours after you finish your dinner. You want your stomach relatively settled. Then use that last hour before bed wisely. Dim the lights, get off screens. The blue light interferes with melatonin. Maybe do some light stretching, read a book, listen to calm music. You're intentionally activating your parasympathetic rest and digest nervous system. This creates the perfect internal environment for the magnesium to work its calming magic. And remember, the overall goal for intake. Aim for a consistent total daily amount from food and supplements combined somewhere in the range of 320 to 420 milligrams for most adults over 50. Check with your doctor for your specific needs, of course.
That rhythm is incredibly clear and practical. Morning, hydrate, take competitors, you keep GD, have caffeine. Midday, optional first thing J dose, 1-2 hours post-lunch. Evening, main A juice, 1 hour pre-bed, 2+ hours post-dinner, combined with calming pre-sleep routine. It really drives home the point. Separate by at least 4 hours from competitors, optimize timing around light meals, manage the depleters like caffeine, sugar, stress, and stay hydrated. If you follow this rhythm, you're not just crossing your fingers hoping your supplement works, you're actively engineering its success in your body.
Precisely. And that leads me to a final thought, maybe something a bit more profound for you to consider. Optimizing your magnesium isn't just about stopping muscle cramps or sleeping a bit better, although those are great benefits. It goes deeper. Magnesium is a fundamental metabolic communicator. It's essential for how your cells function, how they produce energy. When your absorption is truly optimized, when you've established this consistent rhythm, you're doing more than managing symptoms. You're actively supporting the health of your mitochondria, those cellular power plants. You're potentially enhancing your brain's resilience against age-related changes.
So the provocative thought is, how might getting this rhythm right, ensuring consistent optimal magnesium absorption, fundamentally shift your long-term vitality and cellular health far beyond just tackling those immediate deficiency signs? That's a powerful question to reflect on. It really makes you think about the bigger picture of this one mineral. Thank you so much for breaking all that down. That was incredibly insightful. And for everyone listening, thank you for joining us for this deep dive. We really encourage you, pick just one thing from today's discussion, maybe improving your timing or separating your supplements, and start implementing that one change today.